Okay. Something happened. Somewhere.
It's doing something.
Something somewhere has happened. I can't say where.
Oh, I see it. I see us.
Okay. Is it our main channel that went live? Is that it?
Yeah.
Is the right one?
So if you go to our channel, you go to live, it looks like category. Shit, I lost it. Hold on. Come back. No, wait.
That'll be the first like 20 minutes of the stream is figuring out like, did we do this right? I can't remember how I did it last time. Old men on the internet. Oh, okay, I see. Our main channel. Yeah, that went live.
Yeah,
is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we did.
All right. All right. Now let me test the bot real quick.
Yeah, test the bot. Let's just test everything right now before anyone gets here.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I gotta quickly punch in this command. So it's.
I look like an insane person. What happened to my hair? I laid down like before we started. I laid down for like a minute because it was like I just need a minute, dude. Now like my beard's all like mushed and my hair's. I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know what this
Dude,
is doing.
I've kind of been having the squirts today.
Oof,
and I don't mean I mean like the Hershey squirts. I don't mean like my pussy juices. Pussy's been very dry lately, but
I'm sorry, man.
been having some Hershey squirts. So if I have to like get up and panic and run away, it's because I'm about to shit myself. What's up, Captain? Are you Gordon Shumway? I think that's you. Isn't Gordon Shumway? Isn't that like Elf's real name or something? I know that name from somewhere.
Like Will Ferrell, Elf?
Alf, A-L-F.
Oh, Alf. Might be. Okay, now wait. This is
no
okay.
idea.
That's what I want. Do you know how long it's been since I've seen that? It has been years. I remember wasn't the ending like kind of sad?
I don't know. I never watched Alf. Alf is one of those things that I just know through like cultural osmosis. I've literally never watched any Elf material at all. Just didn't care, man. I'm just too mature, you know. That is Elf's real name? Okay. See what cultural osmosis gets you.
By the way, for all you who are here early, you get to watch me test out the Nightbot on this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of testing. We're playing around with the idea of jumping ship from Twitch, so we're just like let's test out YouTube some more, but we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah. I'm
so mad because like I updated our logo, and when like you hit go live for YouTube, it's just like or you have to like connect the account, and it's like choose which account, and we have like two because one's like the Gmail account and one's the actual like YouTube stuff where we upload shit. But like the account we wanted still is showing our old logo, even though it clearly has the new logo, so it was very confusing. ALF stands for alien life form. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So he's an alien, but his name's Gordon Shumway?
Gordon Shumway.
That's like an English-ass name if I've ever heard it. It sounds like he's like born and raised in London.
There's gonna be so many of these.
Yeah, none of it's working.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I can remove these. Cool.
There you go. Why is there a little? I have a little. Oh, that's like an emote thing. Okay.
What the fuck? Okay, I have literally done it on both of these accounts, dude. Like, I clicked on the Gmail and I clicked on the one that says Yahoo.
What was the deal? You in one of our chats, you said that there was like a 404 when you went to do stuff with Nightbot. Did that fix itself, or what's going on with that?
I'm on the site now. It looks like... Bro, I don't know, man. I always fight with fucking Nightbot. Like, Nightbot never wants to work with me.
Well, most things don't want to work with you. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Let's be
but it looks like Streamlabs is working because chat is popping up for you. So Streamlabs is working.
Yeah, that's working. I see it.
Okay.
It seemed... Well... I think the YouTube chat box for Streamlabs it might automatically get rid of older comments because if for whatever reason it's not showing the earlier ones right now. I don't know how it works. Yeah, Elf was a weird show. It seemed like it. I wouldn't know.
I'm just gonna have to just do this manually because for now I'm not gonna sit here and keep fighting with Nightbot.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll figure that stuff out later. No worries.
I mean, worst case, maybe one of these days I think I'm just gonna get us new bots. We need a new bot in our Discord anyways. And It's time to update some of this shit. We got really old bots working in here.
Yeah, we need those new bots that are like the like the girl from Her.
Oh.
This is the bots that will have like phone sex with us. That's the kind of bots we need.
I was gonna say we're having sex with it.
I'm so unbelievably lonely now, Brian, that I'll take just about whatever I can get. I don't care if you know what's funny, dude. I get my phone thinks I'm so goddamn lonely. I get so many ads for those like AI chat things where it's like, I'm an anime waifu and you can talk to me when it's 2 a.m. and you can't sleep and you're thinking about how you're gonna die alone. You can talk to me, and I'm like, stop, just stop. 'Cause one of these days I'm gonna do it.
What do you think? I'm gonna pull the trigger. God damn it!
Maybe I'll make a video of just chatting with different AI chat things and see how that goes. I don't know,
dude. That could be fun. That might actually be fun. We can ask it like really deep questions about like what is its financial plan for the next 10 years. Like
that's not a particularly deep question.
Well, do you think it would know? Like, do you think it already has a 10-year plan made? Like,
yeah, probably. It's an AI. As far as it's concerned, it's going to live forever, so it probably has a 10,000-year plan.
That's true. That's kind of true. All right, whatever. You know what?
I was just thinking about, like, I'm sorry, like, this wasn't even something we planned on talking about, but I have to bring this up. Somehow I missed that, like, 8 months ago or whatever, Tom DeLonge was on Steve-O's podcast.
Oh.
And it's actually really good. So, like, before that, like, a year or two ago, Tom DeLonge was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and it was terrible because Tom just kind of came off like a lunatic, and, like, anytime he was pressed on anything, he's like, well, I can't say. I have answers, but I can't say, blah, blah, blah. But now, like, since the government has released so much stuff on, like, UFOs, Tom's been able to talk more. So, like, he did on Steve-O's podcast, and it was actually kind of really interesting because the conversation kind of got into, like, interdimensional shit where Tom was talking about, it's like, yeah, I mean, the government has a lot of documents on UFOs, but the thing is, they don't believe those UFOs are from other planets. The thing is, though, and like, when you get into, like, astrophysics and all this crazy stuff and talking about space and time, like, the general agreement about time is that, like, we as humans, we obviously experience it in a linear fashion, but, like, all events in history, as far as the universe is concerned, they're just kind of happening at once.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, it's kind of this idea that, like, the possibility of UFOs not necessarily being from other planets, but from other dimensions of our own planet. Like, say, I don't know, 500 years from now, scientists discover a way where they can create little drones that are able to, like, pierce other dimensions and go into other points in history or whatever. Like,
so
it could be possible that, like, well, so to speak, not that there's a fucking, you know, universe where Peter Parker is a car called Peter Parked Car, but just that, like, all events in time, if they all kind of, as far as the universe is concerned, are happening at once, maybe there's a way to, like, pierce that and communicate with others, right? So, like, that's kind of what the whole conversation was about. Again, I don't know enough about this shit to, like, buy into it one way or another, but I'm like, that interests me way more than the idea of someone making a claim that a UFO is, like, from an alien planet somewhere. Because it's like, once you understand, like, astrophysics and how impossible, how difficult it would be to travel between not only different solar systems, but different galaxies and all that stuff, you start to realize, like, there's no fucking way life from other planets ever came to Earth. There's just no way. But if all these UFOs are technically of Earth, but they might be from different Earths, it's like, there might be something. I don't know. Anyway, it was a very interesting podcast. I highly recommend. Plus, they talked a lot about, like, the skateboard scene and stuff back in the day. So
I'm gonna have to check that out. That's actually, like, that's very interesting. Wow.
Yeah, no, it was actually a genuinely good podcast. But yeah, speaking of podcasts, we have a lot of stuff we wanted to talk about, and we don't do Bot Bar anymore. So we figured, like, I don't know, let's just do, like, an impromptu podcast where we can just kind of talk about some recent things that have been announced, things that came out. A big one being Across the Spiderverse, which we're going to talk about the second half of this podcast. And I think we're probably going to start with just doing a general, like, thoughts and opinions on it, and then probably get into some spoiler stuff at the end. So if anyone hasn't seen it and wants to, they can jump ship then. But
yeah, we'll let you know. Or try to remember.
yeah.
No, well.
I agree with some of that. Well, Captain, you should go listen to the podcast when you get a chance. Again, I found her very interesting. I like Steve-O a lot, like Tom a lot, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the first stuff we wanted to talk about, though, is video game related, because, of course, they've had all those, like, they had Sony's whole deal, Xbox's whole deal. They've shown and announced a lot of games. A couple of which kind of interest me. Others, maybe not as much, based on our own feelings of certain game series, but...
I think a lot more of Xbox has kind of, like, at least their showcase kind of, like... I saw a lot more in there. I was just like, wait, huh?
Yeah.
Because that's how I kind of felt. Like Sony's, I mean, what do they have? They had Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, that's
right. They were the ones who showed Dragon's Dogma 2, right?
Yes, they were. That's right.
And that I'm actually really interested in.
Yeah.
I really liked the first Dragon's Dogma, but I think they could do a lot to update it, and it seems like the second one might address some of the stuff I didn't love in the first one, so...
Yeah,
I don't know. I hope it's good.
I do too. I like the first one. I actually want to go back and replay the first one and just kind of get my feet wet again in it.
Yeah, I never beat it. I feel like I got relatively far.
I got decently far. I never beat it. I know how it ends because people spoiled that, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it ends, but I imagine it's, it's probably nothing crazy. Like, unfortunately, that was one of my beefs with it, was like I didn't find the story all that interesting. Like I just enjoyed running around slaying
and
monsters,
killing shit. Yeah,
with my pawns and stuff. But
dude, I love the fact that you can like grapple onto them and hang on. It's like, oh shit.
No, it's good. Like the fighting mechanics are really good in that game, and I hope they go further to kind of flesh those out a little bit more. Because I like the idea of being able to climb the big monsters and almost like it's Shadow the Colossus or some shit.
Dude, right? That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else did Sony have? They had Dragon's Dogma 2. I think that's kind of it, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, they had a lot of stuff that I wasn't super interested in. Speaking of which, Final Fantasy 16, they have like a demo out now, I think.
Yes.
And maybe we should look into streaming that, if not this week, maybe next week or something. Just
we can
look at it.
I'll download it. I'll get my feet wet with the series again.
Okay. I don't know. Like, there seems to be a lot of excitement surrounding this one.
This looks really cool.
I've never been a big Final Fantasy guy, so I'm just kind of whatever on it. And since the last few installments have been so disappointing, it's hard for me to get excited. But like, hey man, if they make a good game, they make a good game. That's fine by me.
Yeah, my issue with Final Fantasy, I've talked about it so much on our podcast, but it's how the suits handle the company. That's what pisses me off. But some of their games are pretty decent. I wasn't a big fan of 15. That one, I don't know. That one wasn't the greatest for me. Or
I don't like 15 either, but somehow it's like the Final Fantasy I played the most of.
That is crazy.
I put like 40 hours into that motherfucker. Well, because again, like it's that game's so weird. Because I really vibed with the whole like bros on a road trip thing that it started off with, and then the story tries to get bigger and more complex, and I'm like, I don't really care about any of this stuff. And then I reached a point where it felt like Final Fantasy 13, where I was just kind of like, I was just Noctis, just like, I think I was like limping down a long hallway or whatever, and it was this whole thing, and I'm like, I don't know, what are they doing? I don't care. And then I stopped playing.
All right, I'm done.
And I remember they like. There are certain parts too where the game even asked me, it's like, do you want to play as Ignis during this and see what he's up to while Noctis is limping down a hallway? And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what kind of game has like a forced segment where it's like, here, you just walk down this hallway really doing nothing, and every once in a while we'll ask you, like, do you want to play someone else during this, or do you not want to? You don't have to. Like, the game, it's so fucking weird. It's like, what are you? You're the game. You tell me what I'm doing. Like, why? Like, if you're gonna ask me, I'm just gonna say no, because I just want to get this done as fast as possible.
Yeah, 15. It just, I don't know. That one was a weird one for me. And plus, I mean, that game went through so much development. I mean, it got changed, what, 3 times? Did it get switched?
Well, yeah, the original plan for it was to be Versus 13 back in the day.
Yeah.
And then that never happened. So then it got retooled a whole bunch, and then it eventually became what it is now. But
yeah, like that story went through so many different changes, so many swaps, and I mean, you can see different builds of that game like out there, and there's even one where Noctis is running through, which this is the part that got me excited for 15, but Noctis running through this palace, and there's like this water kind of splashing around, and it's like moving almost like a serpent, and you're chasing it, and eventually you get out on this rooftop, and it's this huge Leviathan, and you have to fight it. It's like, oh fuck. Never in the game. Never. Cut content. But anyways.
But yeah. I don't know. Bringing it back to 16 though, maybe it's cool. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. But maybe we should
We'll
check out that demo.
Yeah.
Just to see. So yeah, there's that. Like I said, the only other thing with Sony that I remember being particularly interested in was the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. But I don't. That's the other weird thing about it is I don't know how much is going to be changed or stay the same. They mentioned that they weren't doing any like. They weren't re-recording the dialogue. Like they're going to be using the old dialogue. So it sounds to me like the idea is to be extremely faithful to the game, but just have it probably running in the same engine they had 5 or whatever.
Yeah, give it like a little bit of a facelift.
Yeah. Which if that's the case, like if it's like beat for beat the same game, but it just plays like Metal Gear Solid 5 and like looks like that, then it's like, well, I'll play that shit. I love 3. I liked playing 5. It didn't really have much of a story, but the gameplay was great.
Yeah, you know, 5 had such great gameplay.
It was
really
awesome.
Did.
I love that game. Like, I really do. Like, it sucks to me that it's like unfinished and the story doesn't go anywhere. But like,
yeah,
the gameplay rules. I wish they did more with like the maps that they had, like Afghanistan and Africa and stuff like that, because it's kind of just like a lot of empty space. But
yeah, it really kind of is.
Because it's just like these big maps with like bases and then nothing in between them.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do the big open map if we're not going to take advantage of that at all?
Right, yeah, exactly.
But again,
especially when you... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, if they're remaking 3, trying, like, just doing those environments but looking better, like, that's obviously a lot more linear and streamlined, so it's not going to be like, okay, here's fucking run for 10 miles until you get to the next base.
Good luck, kid.
So I don't know. Could be cool.
Yeah. No, I want to definitely see more of that, because all they really showed us was like a teaser, right? It was just like a quick teaser of Snake like going through the woods.
Yeah. Well, like the whole thing, it was like a fucking. What was it? It was like a butterfly or a bird or something. Like it was just following something kind of around a tropical forest, and it gets eaten by an alligator, and then Snake pops up at the end, and it's like, Metal Gear Solid Delta or whatever. Like they dropped the 3.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah. I don't
remember
know
what it was. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, because I was like, I wonder what the gameplay is gonna look like, and I'm curious what how it's gonna look. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my eye on that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's kind of all I have to say about Sony stuff, unless there's something you remember.
Nothing really. Like I said, a lot of the Xbox stuff, I was just like, oh shit. Xbox kind of actually like piqued my interest a little bit.
Yeah, they had a couple things. Well, some things that piqued my interest, other things that I'm kind of a little worried about.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Fable now? Let's get that out of
the way.
Let's
talk about it. Okay, so Fable is coming back. It's getting made by the Forza team. Lionhead no longer has it.
Lionhead no longer exists, right? Isn't that just gone?
They're gone.
Yeah,
they're gone. But so, oh my god, the trailer dropped. Okay, I'll be honest. When I first saw that trailer was dropped, I was like, oh shit, fuck, we're actually gonna see some more about Fable. And then like after watching, I'm like, I wish I didn't see anything about Fable. So the trailer like kind of goes out like it shows a little bit of like, I guess you could say, gameplay of like behind the shoulder of this girl. She's using magic and her sword, and some dude narrating, kind of being a little, what I guess I would say, like comical with his like talking and all that stuff. And
well, that's dude. I can't think of the actor's name, but that's the dude who was from IT Crowd. and he's been in a few. I actually like that dude. He's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
But I cannot think of that actor's name right now.
But yeah, it was going through that, and then eventually it kind of like reveals like, oh, he's this big giant, and you're in this little thing, and it's like fable, fantasy, blah blah blah, shoving it in, and I don't know. The trailer like. To me, there was nothing of the original Fable. Like sure, they had a picture of werewolves, and I'm like, I guess you can maybe argue like, oh, those are Balverines, but those to me don't look like Balverines. That just looks like a fucking werewolf. And I'm just like, they literally took the Fable name and went literal with it now. So I'm just like, this just seems completely redone. Like they are just dropping everything of Lionhead and saying, no, we're just gonna make our own world, which is, I guess, okay.
I mean, it's very like Saints Row reboot vibes, where it's like, oh, we're taking the name and going in a completely different direction with it, and in a way, I suppose that's to be expected, considering it's like a whole different group of people working on this one.
And I'm sure there's some licensing where like maybe they can't get the rights to some stuff because maybe Peter still has some rights, or I don't know. I'm just saying.
I mean, maybe. I think the bigger thing is that it's just like, it's obviously, unless there's some people who used to be in Lionhead who are now with the Forza people, I have no idea. But I'm guessing it's just all new people who've never worked on Fable before, right? So usually when that happens, it's a group of people who are like, well, we're gonna do our own thing with it. Because like they have no, I mean, maybe they have love for the original series, but obviously they have no commitment to it since they didn't work on that shit. So yeah, we had a text conversation in our WhatsApp the other day, and but my whole thing was like, yeah, we really got to stop this loyalty for brands and for franchises, because at the end of the day, like, people got to work on like the games and movies and shows that we love, right? And those people can change, those people can have different motivations for working on different stuff or whatever. So just to say like, oh, I love Fable, so a new Fable comes out, so I'm going to love that, it's going to be just as good if not better than old Fable or stuff like that, it's like that's just a ludicrous way of thinking about it. So like, to me, they're making a game, it's called Fable, I'm divorcing it from the original Fable games anyway, because that's just how it's going to be. And maybe they can make something cool of it, but like I don't know, just based off of the teaser trailer they showed. Well, first of all, they didn't really show much in the way of gameplay. Like they had like a segment where like the chick was throwing fireballs or something, but that's about all I could glean that looked like any kind of gameplay. I don't know. Exactly. So it's hard to tell how this game's going to control or what the actual loop of the game's going to be. I'm kind of like,
I wonder if this is just like to build hype, so like they can start.
Well, so that's what I'm wondering, because I even asked you like if that trailer was something they made just for the sake of showing a trailer, because it's all pre-rendered cutscene stuff, like using models that look like actual actors. Like I said, the IT guy, and I'm assuming whoever they had for the hero, some lady that's probably an actress too. But like, if they're taking, well, the whole way it was structured, it feels like it's just like some promo thing anyway. Yeah. So I don't know. All this could be different. All of it could be thrown out. I have no idea. Maybe they just have nothing real to show for the game right now, and they're like, I don't know, just make something so we can show and tell people we're still working on it. That's kind of how it feels.
Like it just, yeah, like. I don't know. I'm excited, I guess, to see a new Fable, but I'm very worried, because it's like, oh, what are we going to do? And that's the thing. I'm gonna separate it from the original, but it's just like, man, I liked at least the first 2, 3. I don't fuck with, but at least the first 2, especially number 2, fuck with heart. So it's like, damn, you got some big shoes to fill in, but I'm down and open to see what you're gonna show me. I'm down. I want to see, but I'm worried. Don't hurt me now.
Yeah, well, I don't even know that I would say I'm worried. I'm kind of ambivalent now, because like I said, since I've already divorced it from what Fable was to me, now it's like it's just kind of another game in the sea of games. Yeah, and like I'll keep my eyes on it, and if it seems like it's interesting, I'll be like, oh, I might consider picking it up. But just like there's almost nothing to go off of right now, and what I have to go off of is something very different from the Fable that I loved. So it's like I don't know. It's whatever.
Just the amount of hours that you and I have put into 2, like in general, just so
Yeah.
many.
No, I love 2, and honestly, I don't even want a new Fable. I just want like 2 on PC or just modern
Right.
systems. Like that's kind of all I want.
And
Because like
updated,
I
please.
wanted to replay 2, but it runs like fucking garbage asshole shit on the fucking 360. Granted, everything does. Like the 360 is old as fuck, but still, I mean, it's like nearly 20 years old at this point.
I mean, I guess you could say you could do it on an Xbox One, but it's the 360 version, and it still runs like shit.
Yeah, and I don't have an
Like, I'm
Xbox
sorry.
One, and I'm not gonna get an Xbox One. Just want it on,
Fucking
just
good.
want it on PC. Put it on PC. Come on, man.
I know. Wait, you know, we're gonna have to do it, Mike. We'll have to port it.
Again, I
We'll
bet
have to do it.
it's probably the same thing as like fucking Saints Row 2. It's like they probably don't even have the source code for it anymore. It's like Fable 2's gone
that's-
forever.
You see, but that's so sad because it's just like, damn, the first one somehow is gonna live, obviously because it's anniversary, but damn, the second one's just gonna die off. Like that's so sad.
I don't know, because like you can even play 3 on PC.
Yeah,
Like, I have it on PC, and like again, 3's not good, but like it at least runs good on the PC. So like I remember playing some of it back. I'm like, yeah, the game still kind of sucks, but like this is a lot easier to play on this than it was on the 360.
like this is like butter.
Yeah.
Oh god, fucking 3. But yeah, I don't know. I want to see what more they're gonna do. So
You just show me some goddamn gameplay. That's all I want to see, man. That's all I want to see. Like, okay, here's the thing I will say. And now, granted, it wasn't even just like a trailer situation. It was a whole fucking direct. But like, credit where credit's due. Like, Bethesda showed a lot of Starfield. And again, it's just like tons of gameplay and shit. And it's like, this is what I want to see. I don't really give a fuck about teaser trailers and cinematic stuff. Like, I want to see what the game is. And then Bethesda, you know, after how many years of working on Starfield, they come out and be like, we're going to fucking show you 40 minutes of shit in this game.
Dude, like, okay, I will be the first to admit, okay, and I'm putting it's on YouTube, so this is forever. I'll admit, when they first announced Starfield and they showed that whatever little teaser, I didn't give a shit. I really didn't care. I was like, whatever. I don't know. I've been hurt off of your Fallout 4, and you just keep re-releasing Skyrim. So I had a bad taste with Bethesda, but now that I've seen this, I was like, oh fuck, wait, hold on a second, I'm interested now. I'm interested.
Well, you know, it's funny enough. Like, to me, Starfield is looking like what I wanted No Man's Sky to be. And again, like, exactly. I know everyone says No Man's Sky is good now. Like, we played it semi recently when it was, you know, still considered like, oh, it's better now, and that just wasn't a game for me. But if you have a full on like RPG with a story, with characters you interact with dialogue, with all that stuff, and it's in that kind of world where you have your own spaceship that you can customize and you can build your crew and you can go to different planets and stuff, like, I look at that shit, I'm like, okay, fuck, this I can really sink my teeth into.
Yeah,
like, this looks cool.
This is like fucking Mass Effect, and like you're like, you know, I'll even say almost a little bit like Outer Worlds, kind of like, you know, made up in No Man's Sky, kind of just like fucked a little bit. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like in the way you can have like all these different crew members, and it sounds like you can make your ship pretty fucking huge if you want. And I'm sitting there like,
dude, they were showing off like one lady turned her ship into a mech.
Yeah,
and then like made like animals out of it and stuff like it. Like it seems like you have a bunch of little like pieces you can put together to upgrade stuff that I'm sure have different functions in terms of speed or armor or weaponry or whatever. But like it seems like you can do a whole lot with it. And I'm curious, like, if that. I have to imagine it changes like the interior of your ship too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and that's what I was gonna say, because like it looks like when you move parts around, you're moving its layout, and I'm just sitting there like, fuck, like you could have like, you know, maybe your bridge up at the top, like you can almost do like a we call it like a fucking Star Destroyer kind of thing, where your cockpit's up here, and it's just like, I'm like, oh my god.
See, I'm sure the way it's gonna work is that like you'll have individual pieces. Like you'll have one where it's gonna be like, here's where like the crew hangs out or whatever, and like they'll probably stay in those spaces, because if you can really customize your ship, I could see how like NPC pathing would get kind of fucky. So I'm guessing when people go on your ship, they probably don't move too much, which is fine. But like, yeah, I know. Looking at it, it seems like they give you a lot of freedom. By the way, Alf in chat says Starfield looks cool, but I feel bad for the modders having to fix all the physics bugs. I agree with that. But let me say this, and this isn't me being like a Bethesda apologist, but someone I think on Reddit kind of said something that like made me rethink how I feel about Bethesda games just a little bit. Because someone mentioned how it's like, yeah, when the game comes out, it's probably going to be like every other Bethesda game where it's buggy as hell and we'll have to patch it a bunch and then modders will have to come and fix things too. And that's frustrating. But also, literally nobody is making games the way Bethesda does. That's literally, like, who else makes a Bethesda RPG where it's like fucking huge, you go into every single building, you can talk to every single person, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, it's buggy, yeah, it's not always that deep. Like, I get it, it has issues, it has cracks in the seams for sure. But like, these games are massive, and Starfield's going to be stupidly massive. Like, I know it's a lot of
Cyberpunk tried. Look what they did. They tried to do what Bethesda. We're doing everything. But that's how they turned out.
I do think, and this isn't me saying like if the game's fucking broken on release, then obviously that's going to be an issue. But like, I look at bugginess in Bethesda games, and I'm like, you know, if anyone else tried to make a game like this, it would legitimately be broken. Like, we wouldn't be laughing at the silly bugs. We'd be like, I can't even get this game to run, right? Bethesda's somehow able to get these huge in-depth games to run, and again, they're like really the only game developers on the market making stuff like that. So it's hard for me now to like be too angry about bugs, because like every fucking game has bugs, and the bigger the games you're gonna get, the more bugs you're gonna encounter. I get that, but like, so long as I can still play it and it doesn't completely hamper my experience, I'm not gonna be that upset about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just kind of something I read that made me rethink about being one of those like, hey, Bethesda games are buggy.
No, but that's so true though. I mean, like, think about it, man. They spend years on these things, and just like the amount of like, yeah, like, sure, yeah, it's just like you said, there's always gonna be some holes and cracks here and there, but fuck, dude, the things that you can do, the amount of memories that they give you, like, it's insane. Oh yeah.
No, it truly is. And again, like they mentioned in Starfield, like there's something like 1,000 different planets you can go to. Some of those are like literally like handcrafted, like story planets with like big major cities. Most of them are just kind of for resource gathering, but apparently it's like a combination of like AI generation of these planets, but also kind of like selecting like handcrafted parts to go into there. Like, my guess is that like there's like you could land on a planet and it's going to be like procedurally generated based on like, okay, wherever its position is in the solar system, this is the type of biome it's going to have. If it's further away from the sun, it's going to be a colder climate. Vice versa, if it's closer, it's going to be a hotter climate. And it'll probably be a lot of empty space, but then it seems like it's going to like add in handcrafted elements. Like maybe there's a cave that is generated on this planet, and the interior of that cave was actually modeled by people, so that it's, you know, not just fucking random shit everywhere.
Right, like they took all the plants that the AI made and said, all right, let's kind of have this team go through and kind of look at them and kind of stuff. Yeah, that's how I was kind of feeling when I was looking at that, because I'm like, okay, there's clearly going to be plans that they focused heavy on, because obviously they have to tell a story, but I'm sure like with the altitude, they had to do almost like a No Man's Sky and be like, okay, we need an AI to make all these plants, and we'll kind of like double check them, and if we want to add some shit, we can, because think about it, there's probably going to be like outposts, like random outposts out of nowhere and all that. Like they have to kind of make it look real, you know what I mean? Sure.
Well, I mean, like there's no way, like if they were to handcraft every single planet out of 1,000 planets, the game would take 300 years to develop. So like obviously they got to use procedural generation, but I think there's a smart way to do that if like you have your parameters set right, where it's like, okay, the planet or the AI takes into consideration where this planet is, and then it takes from a pool of different elements, and some of those are actually handcrafted, like if it's a cave, an outpost, whatever, and it can smartly decide where to place some of those things so you don't feel like you just land on a random planet with just garbage everywhere, you know?
like a lot of No Man's Sky.
Like a lot of No
planets are just,
Man's
like,
Sky, yeah.
fuck
Because again,
this
No Man's
planet.
Sky, outside of like No Man's Sky is mostly procedural generation. I know they have some stuff that's they designed, but it's by and large just procedural generation. So you will go to some planets and it'll be just like a fucking turd ball where there's just like nothing of interest there, and you're like, okay, well, moving on, I guess.
And the creatures there are just so like the point of just like, this isn't even interesting. This is just, I don't even know what the fuck I'm looking at anymore.
Right. But again, I like, because the thing that got me with like No Man's Sky is that like I know they had like vague goals, like building up stuff, building up your ship, getting materials. I know there was this whole idea of like, can you find the center of the universe or whatever? Like they had a lot of weird, like vague, big goals that you could try to do. But like, because that game didn't have a very strong narrative, I myself, when playing it, didn't feel like I had a big like goal that I was pushing towards, or like something that was driving me forward, or like some big mystery I was trying to solve or whatever. But having a game like Starfield where there is a narrative and your character has a purpose in this world and there's other characters to interact with and stuff, like I think that could actually like really get me to be interested in a game like that.
No, definitely.
Because I like the idea of space exploration. I think it's super cool, but if like there's not much to do with it, then you're just kind of like roaming around seeing nothing, and you're like, eh.
Yeah. God forbid, and I'm just saying, because for some reason Bethesda's been doing it lately, but God forbid they do a Starfield VR. God forbid. You ain't seen anyone anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I want to put it past them. They probably will. Like, if the game doesn't come out with VR capabilities, they'll probably have a version.
Yeah. They did with Fallout 4, they did with Skyrim.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh, fuck. Sorry. I know, I'm one of those, like, people that are like, I love VR. It's such a fun thing. But anyways, yeah, no, Starfield just, I don't know, just watching that, like, what was it, 45 or 48 minute, whatever thing.
45 minutes, I think, yeah.
Yeah, you saw the love and the passion that was going into it, and that's what was getting me fucking excited. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, like just every bit of detail with like, what? Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You finish what you're saying.
Oh, I was just saying, like just their detailing and like, I hate to say, what really pulled me in was like a lot of their cinematography and how like the coloring of things were looking on planets, and I'm just like, this is gorgeous. Like, this is absolutely gorgeous. Like they did such a good job to really make you feel like you're in a movie, like this is your own sci-fi movie now. And I'm just like, wow. And then like the fact that you can go and like, which I'm gonna be stuck on for hours, and I will be redoing it probably 8-10 times because I always do, but the fucking character creation, like how you like choose from like these 40 presets and then you tweak them as is. Hey, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with doing that because it seems like you can make a lot of different faces.
Yeah, no, it seems like they give you a lot of tools. I like when they talked about that. The dude says like, I'm the kind of guy who can spend hours in character creation. I'm like, that's me and Brian. That's us.
Yeah, that's us. That's what we do. And like,
but I like how they said too that like they give you all the tools too, where they were saying that. I mean, I'm sure outside of maybe some select story characters, they said like pretty much anyone that they generate in the world is based off of that character creator. So presumably, if you see anybody in the fucking game, you could make that person in the character creator.
You can really make that face,
which is great. Because I always hate when you're playing a game and you see someone else and they've got like a hairstyle or features or whatever that you could never do for yourself, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, I'd love to have that.
Right, exactly. That's when modders come through. But but no, like that stuff was crazy, and just the way you can like choose your background story. Something tells me I'm gonna end up choosing the kid thing. Yeah, you give it 2%, but I want a space family.
I want a space family.
But it sounds like, man, like this is where the Mass Effect thing came in, because I'm like, this is fucking Mass Effect, Skyrim, No Man's Sky, and Outer World. Just like it was a fuck fest. I'm just like, this is insane to me. Like,
yeah, no, it's great because I'm the same as you, man. Like, I didn't care about Starfield at all, and then like I was just watching all this stuff, and I'm like, fuck. Right. Like either Either they're just really, really good at selling a game, and they are. Let's be clear, they are.
They are. Todd Howard, he knows how to talk.
Yeah, he does. He does. They know exactly what to say. They know how to show it. Like it was a good little direct for Starfield. I'll say that. Like, who knows how the game's actually going to be when it comes out? Jury's still out on that one. But like, based off what they showed, I'm like, they like hit all the major points I pretty much would have cared about when it comes to this. Right. And I'll even say too, and again, it's hard to tell until you play it yourself, but even the gameplay they showed, like the gunplay looked pretty good.
It looks smooth. Smooth. Now it's definitely using its Fallout.
Yes, yeah,
game. That's fine. I'm okay.
No, that's fine.
I actually like that though, because their gunplay and Fallouts have never been too bad, at least for me.
Listen, like I have a laundry list of complaints about Fallout 4. The gunplay really isn't one of them. I think the guns handle really like Fallout 4 has the best gunplay in any of the Fallout games. Yeah, and like New Vegas is my favorite. I love New Vegas, but the guns don't handle nearly as good as they do in fucking 4. Like 4 plays really well, and supposedly, since they're all under like the same family now, I think they even took some pointers from id Software. The people who make Doom.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think people from id Software worked on Starfield. I just think they kind of like shared some info about like, well, here's kind of how we approach gunplay, and I think Bethesda took some of that. Yeah.
So especially the way they were showing off with that jetpack.
Yes.
I'm like,
yeah,
this feels very Doom.
And I like that you have like a jetpack that you can like propel, because that's the other thing is like I'm super into like big games, obviously, with big worlds, but like if you don't have a fun way to traverse the world, it can become very boring very fast. But having something like a jetpack where you can kind of move a little faster, get some verticality and stuff, I think that's very cool.
Definitely, I agree. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of choices that you can take, but it looks like you can like change them eventually, they said, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's some probably story plot, maybe something at the end where you can change your destiny. I don't know. I'm purely guessing.
Yeah. Well, they should. So like you can. I think they said something like you can choose like 3 different traits or whatever.
Yeah, traits. Yeah.
And like one of them, like they did the call back to Oblivion with the Adoring Fan.
The Adoring Fan!
Pyozora. So you can have the Adoring Fan where apparently like he gives you like gifts and shit or whatever, but obviously he's extremely annoying. So they even showed where it's like, so, there's ways, even if you choose a trait, there's ways to get rid of them. And then they show you like pushing them off a cliff or shooting them. Yeah.
Bro, you know what's funny? When I first saw that, I got so excited. I grabbed my copy of Oblivion. I'm like, this is it! It's this guy! It's this guy! I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy shit, they're bringing him back. And I love it. Same voice actor and everything. Yeah. And then I think I saw like a few days later or something on, I think it was like Instagram or something like that, but it was the voice actor like reacting to it and all. Oh god, it was so funny. That actually makes me happy. And I might make a character that's gonna have to deal with him. I'm gonna have so many characters. That's the problem. Like it just, this is gonna be insane.
Yeah, this game. I don't know. It looks fucking rad. Like I hope that it is as good as it looks. You know, I'm trying to keep expectations reasonable, but based off of what they showed, it's like everything you would expect out of a Bethesda RPG, but just like more and bigger and insane. So I don't know.
And let me just say, because I'm probably the 1% that gives a shit, but y'all see that watch? I know I like it.
I gotta get the watch.
I saw that. I was like, oh fuck.
Can I just say, I've never been a watch guy. It kind of blows my mind that people still wear watches. Like, I know it's just like an accessory at this point, but like to me, I'm thinking all like function over form, and I'm just like, oh man, if only I had another device I carry around with me at all times that tells me the time and everything else I need to know. Oh, I do. Why do I need another device that does all the same shit?
Because Mike, now it's on your arm and it's always there.
I don't want it always there. I'm glued enough to this motherfucker as it is. I don't need it on my wrist where I can constantly be like, who's messaging me with this, with that, with this.
Yeah, no, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But no, Starfield, oh my god, this game. And another thing that kind of got me was also making outposts, and it seems like you can camera, and it looks like you can assign your followers to like your outposts, and it's just like, holy shit. Like, that's kind of cool. I can make this stuff feel like alive, and they'll get me resources and shit that I need. I'm like, Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This camera. Come on.
Yeah, Starfield looks
Focus
cool. I don't know. Any other things to say about Starfield or anything else Xbox showed?
Oh, I think that's kind of it.
Yeah.
My face. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna be a little blurry. I don't know.
See, I just do. I mean, you probably don't have that functionality with your webcam, but I don't even do autofocus anymore because it gets so fucky.
Yeah, I wish I could. I have to like have it focus on something and like slowly pull it back.
Yeah. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, you're being compressed through Discord anyway, so it probably doesn't make a huge difference.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, on my end, this is blurry as shit, but yeah, actually, it looks fine on stream. I just look like a crazy guy. All right. Anyways,
we both look great.
What else we got? Oh, something I want to talk about. I'm excited to see a new Yakuza. That was cool.
Yeah, so I didn't watch the trailer for that only because like I haven't gotten too far in Like a Dragon, and I'm so good at buying Yakuza games and playing some of them and then never finishing them. So like it's just like so again. I love Yakuza. I've enjoyed every game I've played. I'm glad they're making another one. Can't even give a fuck right now. I've got 7 of them to play. So it's just like, whatever. New Yakuza? There's a new one every year. Don't care. I'll get to it in 30 years.
Don't forget about the Judgment series, Mike.
Fine. Whatever. I'll get to those in 50 years. Yakuza is great. I love it. I want to play through all the games. I'm having a good time with the ones I do play. Like a Dragon's awesome. I have nothing bad to say about it. Glad a new one's coming out. Whatever. Like that's how I feel. Like whatever. I'll play it when I play it.
I want to finish the first one. I was really enjoying the shit out of Like a Dragon, and I watched the new trailer for it, and I was just like, I kind of wish I didn't, because I'm like, I wonder if this spoiled anything for me just now, but because it's Ikiban and it's picking up where I'm assuming where it's left off, and I'm like, oh fuck.
It seems like, from what I heard, it takes place in a different city.
Yeah,
it takes place somewhere else.
Yeah, well, do you want me to tell? I mean, like,
sure.
From what it looks like, you're in a tropical island, and I'm like, Hawaii? Are we like in Hawaii? Or it's clearly some tropic, because it starts off with Ikiban waking up on the beach, and he's like getting up, and it reveals that he's naked, and everyone's kind of reacting and freaking out, like, oh my god, is this guy naked? And Ikiban has no idea, and all these like, oh, being good old Ikiban, and then it just kind of shows like, yeah, he's on a tropical island and title. So that's kind of all we got to see. So he's somewhere, and I don't know why.
Yeah, isn't it called like Infinite Wealth or something like that?
Correct. Yeah, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. So, yeah, I mean, this is their new character that they're going to be focusing on. I mean, obviously, Kuro, his story has ended in 6, but Ikiban's the new, I guess, Yakuza poster child now, I guess I would say. Because
fine by me. I think he's great. I like him a lot.
Oh, I love him to death. Hey man, I appreciate, because they're also kind of like, well, we respect the original creator, and if he's leaving, we don't feel like the right to want to continue with Kuro, so we're just going to stay with
Kiryu.
Kiryu, I'm sorry. And that's kind of why he worked on Like a Dragon, to kind of help them get a base to be like, hey, I'm going to set you guys up, and it's in your guys' hand, because I think he left. I think he retired from there or something. I think he's pursuing other. I don't remember why he left, but he's no longer with the studio. But yeah, I'm curious to see, because this will be. I think why I'm a little bit curious, like, for this, is because this is, in a sense, their first game without him and without any of his own direction. So it's kind of like, I want to see if you guys can kind of do it on your own.
Beginning to the end, it's all going to shit,
right? So it's like, can you guys keep up with it? So
yeah,
but I mean, Yakuza games, all you gotta be is but this is the thing. This is where I gotta argue is, yes, Yakuza games are so over the top and so crazy, but it's like they know how to like make their big explosion, but then pull it all in to where it's all serious again. So it's like, you gotta do a good mixture, because because that series is so good at being like, what the fuck, but then you completely forget about it, because it's like, do this plot. Holy shit.
Well, again, they always have good, interesting, grounded stories to like pull everything in. Plus the fact that like they just have good characters who play everything like very straight, you know. So like, despite all the insane wackiness in the Yakuza series, like it never loses its heart, you know.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I want to see if they can still do that. So I'm not wishing for the doom. No, I'm curious to see what you can do. Can you impress me?
Can you impress me? I mean, listen, just because one guy like creative director or not, just because one guy leaves doesn't mean that like, you know, the entire version. Because it's still, I'm sure, a bunch of the same people who've been working on Yakuza for many years now. So
it's just one dude.
Yep.
You know, I mean, unless you're fucking was it fuck, come on, Kojima with yeah, Metal Gear. When they try to go on their own.
Well, Konami's always been a fucking nightmare anyway, so I feel like Kojima really was fucking keeping things together as far as the Metal Gear Solid games are concerned. But,
yeah.
So.
Oh, God.
Anyways, we are 50 minutes in. Let's talk about some Spider-Man, dude. I've been dying to talk to you about Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm so ready. Yeah, I don't even like Spider-Man, you know.
Yeah, I don't even like Spider-Man. He's fucking lazy.
I don't even.
Hold on,
like
let me put on the background. There we go. We'll just have the trailer on loop in the background, so dude, you'll barely even see it, but it'll be there. You'll know it's there.
It's there.
Can I even add some like tasteful blur to it? Just like a little bit of blur, maybe. I don't know where that would be under all this. Whatever. I won't worry about it.
I'm worrying. I'm freaking out, dude. I am freaking out.
Like I said before, we're going to talk just in general about Across the Spider-Verse. We won't be spoiling anything yet. We probably will towards the end, so we can talk about some more specific things. So if you haven't seen it and want to, you'll be able to leave then. I get like it's been out for a little bit, like a week and a half, 2 weeks or something. So like if you wanted to see it that bad that you're avoiding spoilers and you haven't seen it yet, I feel like that's kind of on you. But either way, we'll give you a warning before we spoil
it. You are a fuck up. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, it's been out, man. Like, you've had some time, man. Yes, Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Fucking garbage. Actually, okay. Well, okay. Let's just start like for real. Like, you like the movie, right?
It's really good.
It's
really
it's amazing. It's amazing to the point where like there's a part of me that like if I had to rate it, like my jump thing is I want to say like, oh, that was a 10 out of 10 easy. But then because the movie was so good, I was actually kind of mad when it ended.
Yeah. You might, because you're like, fuck, I want more.
Well,
like, why did you?
So here's the thing. I'm gonna say something, and this isn't a spoiler because I'm not gonna be specific about it. And in fact, I think it's the opposite. I think it's something everyone should know going into it. This is a part 1.
Yes.
This is a part 1 of the full story that they're telling for the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. And if people remember years ago, like back even before COVID, when they announced that they were working on the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, they had mentioned that they were going to break it up into 2 parts.
That's right, they did.
They did.
Yeah.
This was like, I want to say like 2019 or something like this. This was years ago because you can find old articles where they refer to the next movie as Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. However, at some point, they decided to drop the Part 1. I don't know why. Maybe marketing decided like, well, people know it's only a part 1. They'll wait to see it until part 2 comes out so they can watch both or whatever. I have no idea what the logic was.
Or make us forget.
I don't know. But they dropped the part 1 off of it. So it's just called Across the Spider-Verse. And if you're like me and have a shit memory, you might have forgotten that this was only supposed to be the first part of this full story.
Same.
So, and this movie's not short. It's like over 2 hours long.
2 hours and 16 minutes.
Yeah. And I remember towards the end of the movie, I'm sitting there and like shit's ramping up. It's ramping up. And I'm like, how are they going to wrap this all up? There must be no time left to wrap this all up.
Right?
And the answer is they don't. It just ends. It just ends. And here's the thing. The movie's incredible. I was kind of mad sitting there. I was like, really? Like that? You're ending it there? Really?
What a cliffhanger!
Because they do. They ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm like, Mr. Beast, get the fuck off the screen, bro. These goddamn ads. I swear to God, trying to fucking show the. Go away, Mr. Beast. Sorry about that.
That movie. Oh God. It just.
So I think people should know that going into it, that like, because that's the thing I would say about this movie. I would give it like a 10 out of 10 because I loved it so much. But it's technically only half of a movie, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because here's the thing, like, this isn't the first movie in the history of movies to end on a cliffhanger or to be a part one of multiple parts. It's just that usually there's, let's say, a smaller resolution that the movie can end on. Let's take, for example, the Fellowship of the Ring, right? Part one of a 3-part story. But the Fellowship kind of has its own small resolution where it's like, fucking, they go through the mines of Moria, Gandalf confronts the fucking, the Balrog, and then quote unquote dies. Then they leave, they get caught by Lurtz and the other fucking orcs, and then they all have to split off on their own thing, right? And it kind of like ends in that like small resolution where they haven't completed their whole goal, but like the movie has like an ending, and you can be like, oh, okay, right. This movie doesn't really have that because it literally ends during a very, very big, like, it feels like a climax. Like, it feels like something like, oh my God, this is huge. And then it's like, all right, see you next time. To be continued. And you're like, okay.
They didn't quite Sopranos you, but they got close.
No, right. So it's that feeling of like, damn, that was a great movie, but like, it's only half of the movie is the thing. There's no real resolution to any of this. It's just it's a ton of build up, some great climaxes, and then it's like, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah.
And it's like,
no,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Can we talk spoilers? Can we?
Well, before we do, just before we do, just talk just in more vagueness though, like. That's kind of my only hold up on the movie, because otherwise it was amazing. Dude, the fucking animation is incredible. Like, you thought it was good in Into the Spiderverse, they fucking upped it. It's insane. I don't know. First of all, the amount of different art and animation styles that they meld into this movie, and not only like show it off, but fucking nail it. Like they killed every single fucking one. It was great.
Okay. So let's dive in a little bit. Okay, so. I guess spoiler warning. I'm gonna touch the beginning real quick. I'm gonna touch that. So I guess I'll say spoiler. Is that okay? Can I?
Yeah. We'll just kind of start to get into it. Overall thoughts is that we love the movie. It's very good. Please watch it.
Go see it right now. Stop watching me.
Yeah, go see it. Like
right now.
If you're the kind of person who cares about spoilers and you haven't seen it, what the fuck are you doing? Just go watch it.
Yeah, right now.
But yeah, I think we'll be safe to get into spoilers now and just talk a little more in depth.
Okay, so I fucking love the way that they nailed the shit out of Gwen's storyline. I going into this movie was really hoping they were going to try to dive a little bit more on Gwen's story, because like, I mean, like in the other, in the last movie, they kind of they glazed over it. I'm just sitting there like, Gwen has such a powerful fucking story of just like her journey of climbing to become who she is such a fucking powerful journey, because I have those volumes, and reading those were fucking beautiful. Like, obviously in the movie they changed some of it to fit the universe, which is fine. I don't give a fuck about that. They did it I kiss it. But oh my God, the way that they like were pulling panels out of like the comic and putting it in like the scene where fucking spoiler, here we are, where like Gwen is like talking to her father, and her father is figuring out that it's her and telling her to like, or like just so disappointed, like, bro, that was a fucking like complete recreate of that panel. And I was losing it in my seat. I'm like, you guys ripped out this panel and beautifully recreated with the fucking paint and just oh my God.
See, so can I just say, and again, I'm coming at this from like a non-comic reader. I don't tend to read many comics, and if I do, they're Batman comics, so I haven't really read much Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, anything. I love, because the whole intro focuses on Gwen. I love how in her universe, like the colors like change with like the emotion of like what's going on. Like
Yes.
it's so cool, and it looks like watercolory, and it fills everything, and it's so gorgeous. It is
It's
so
so
gorgeous.
And if you paid attention, like if you haven't and you're gonna go see it again, pay attention. But the background, you actually see the paint even running still sometimes in some parts, which I thought was so clever. I was like, that's so beautiful. Oh my gosh!
Let's get rid of that.
Like that whole and like the way that they were diving into Gwen, and like with her like starting with the band and then leaving, and then like God, I love it. They just kick open the doors and it just starts. She's walking through the city, transition straight to the train, and the whole entire movement of that scene, which I'm a sucker for, like, what do you call it, long shots where it's just all one movement, just following the same actor without cutting. And the way like yeah, there were some cuts here and there, but like the way that they went through it was just, the flow was perfect.
Dude, just across the board for the whole movie, like they must have hired the most amazing storyboard artists that have ever existed. Because like there is so much, like the way the camera flows, like the action scenes specifically. There are so many fucking super complex action scenes with literally hundreds of characters and just fucking scene transitions, all this crazy stuff. And mind you, these are spider people we're talking about, so they're fucking slinging and flying around, doing flips, going through shit. It's insane, and it's so easy to follow. It's so easy to follow. Like, it's just so fucking smooth, right? And I get it. This is an animated movie, so they have more control over that stuff. But I always think about, like, when you see, I don't know, a fucking Transformers movie, and there's all this fucking shaky cam and blah, 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 and you can't tell what's going on. It's like, none of that in this movie.
World?
Like, yes, exactly. But, like, in this movie, like, they do some of the most complex, like, action sequences I've seen in a very long time. And like, you never lose sense of what's happening. It is so much flow. They know who and what to focus on at the right time. All the camera movements are so smooth. The transitions are incredible. And like, I'm sitting there thinking about like all the fucking like assets that went into making this movie. Because like, there's a scene. We're gonna be jumping over the place. The point of this is not to have a synopsis of the movie. We're just talking about what we love. There's a scene when Miles finally like goes to the fucking like Spider Hub, right, where fucking Miguel is and all the fucking different Spider-Man is, and like there's this whole reveal about how Miles was never supposed to be Spider-Man, right? Because the spider that bit him came from a different universe, and so he was kind of a quote unquote mistake, right? But he finds out that it's like, that wasn't part of the plan. Like there's a canon to these timelines that we have to try to adhere to, because if we don't, shit can go fucking haywire. And Miguel found that out the hard way because he tried to live in a universe where he could have like his child back and stuff like that, and everything went to shit. Everyone died, blah blah blah.
And which it seemed to be Peter B. Parker's universe, if you remember, because he was apparently there. If you quickly glanced at that, he was like there with him, because I think he called out to him, if I remember. Or something, because I think Peter P. Parker said we gotta go or something.
Well, yeah, I guess he was there with him, but I don't think it was Peter P. Parker's universe, because there's scenes where he goes back to with Mary Jane, and you know, so it wasn't his universe, but like he was there to witness it, I guess. Probably there to help when stuff started going to shit, but then realized there was nothing they could do. So anyway, that's kind of the purpose of all these spider people getting together. They're like time patrollers from Xenoverse, right? Like there's a canon to events where things need to happen, right? Like fucking if you're a Spider-Man, if you're a Peter Parker, I'm sorry, your Uncle Ben has to die, right? Like that's kind of the thing of like, these events need to happen in order for like the universe to remain intact, you know. So that's their whole goal, to try to like stop these anomalies, and part of that is that like Miles' dad needs to die. So they try to trap Miles and just like, you're not going anywhere, you gotta let this play out. Of course, Miles doesn't let that happen. Fucking dude, Spider-Punk might be my favorite fucking character in the movie. I love him so much. He's such a fucking disruptor. He's the best. He's so great. But he's the one who like tells Miles, is like, dude, you got the electric powers, like get out of your cage, get out of here, dude. So like Miles breaks out, and there's this whole fucking like chase thing where like tons of different spider people are chasing Miles throughout this hub. They go through the entire like main building, they go outside to the fucking like streets, the highways, they're like in an underpass, they get on a fucking like big like train thing. Like it goes nuts. The scene is insane. There are fucking hundreds of characters that are part of it, and it works flawlessly. They pull it off so well. I'm sitting there like, how did people make this? I don't understand. It's crazy.
I saw somewhere like it took a few years just on
I'm sure.
that scene alone
I'm
for
sure
that.
because it was an insane, dude. Like the amount of scene transitions, the amount of characters, the amount of stuff happening, like it was nuts.
Yeah, that scene was so well done, even to the part where they were climbing up to the top. Like that was holy shit on the train and
Yeah.
that whole story. And okay, so another thing that I was hoping that they were gonna do and they did was I'm talking pure ending now. Okay, there was a comic storyline called Spider-Man 2. It was like I think 5 issues or 7 issues, something like that, and it touches on the story of a second Miles, another Miles in the storyline. And I was like going into the theater, sitting down, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if they maybe like touched onto that, because like they're going across the universe, so who doesn't say Miles runs into another Miles? And what the fuck do we do? He runs into one, and I'm like, well, holy shit, we're doing it, ladies and gentlemen.
Because I love how they have that fucking workout, right? Because since Miles was bitten by a radioactive spider from universe, I think 42 is what they called it, that DNA is now inside of him, right? So like when he eventually escapes and tries to go back to his own universe, the machine fucks up and sends him to universe 42, where there is already another Miles. He doesn't know that yet, though. He doesn't know that. But, like, so they have this whole thing, because, like, towards the end of that, too, like, Gwen gets recruited early on by all these spider people to be a part of this effort. And, she was kind of gung-ho about that, but then towards the end has the change of heart and realizes she's on Miles' side. So she tries to she goes to Miles' actual universe to try to help them, only to find out that he's not there, because the universe he was sent to has a Miles, universe 42, but this Miles was never bitten by the spider since it went to a different universe. So in this universe, Miles' dad did die, Uncle Aaron lived, only Uncle Aaron isn't the Prowler anymore. Miles is. And I thought that was fucking great.
That was awesome.
But this is what I mean. This is so this is where the movie chooses to end, right? Is you have this reveal, fucking our Miles is all chained up on a fucking punching bag. Yeah, with Uncle Aaron there, and he's like trying to beg with Uncle Aaron. It's like, no, dude, like please, like don't fucking, like we're friends, we're cool, whatever. It's like, I know you're the Prowler or whatever. My Uncle Aaron was, and he's like, no, I'm not the Prowler. And then Prowler comes in, mask comes off. It's this universe's Miles, and like then you cut back, and like Gwen and the other people have the realization that the Miles they're looking for isn't in that universe anymore. So Gwen gets the band back together, all these people, like even people from the first one. Yeah, you got Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Pig, get the anime Spider-Girl, plus you get Spider-Punk back there, and probably some other people.
Can I say, damn, they did my boy Bill Riley so dirty. Like, fucking Scarlet Spider, the one with the blue hoodie.
Yeah. They made a huge joke out of him, bro. He's just like this super edgy dude. He's like,
yeah. Listen, I get it. He's got a lot of issues. He has like fucking split personality disorder, fucking schizophrenia. My man's just going through it. I saw when they did the Bill Riley. I'm like, you dicks, but you're right.
Dude, I like, again, during the scene where Miles is trying to escape all the spider people, I like when he gets Miles in a fucking like headlock, and he's like, you'll never escape my overly defined muscles.
That was apparently Adam Sandberg, Andy
Samberg.
Yeah.
Dude, also, hint throughout this whole movie are a bunch of just really excellent jokes. Like I mentioned one before where they show Peter parked car, where it's literally just a fucking car.
I love it, dude. That was so good.
They did the thing again, like the meme of the Spider-Man pointing. Only this time it was like when Miles escapes, fucking Miguel over the intercom is just like, Spider-Man is on the loose. Like make sure he doesn't escape. And it was like, what? You.
Yeah. That was awesome. I was like, well played. I knew they were gonna have to try to do that again somewhere.
Well, see, like, and here I was thinking, like, it'd be kind of lame if they just did that same joke again. But like the way they did it was so good that it's like, oh, they had to. They set themselves up for that. Like, it'd be silly not to at that point.
And even Miguel's like, no, Miles.
Yeah,
oh,
Miles.
okay. And then like,
Well, no, he
other
didn't even say that. He
Spider-Man
says
comes
like,
out.
no. He's entering this sector, so they all look towards the
Yeah.
door, and a different spider person comes in. He's like, "What's wrong? I guess I'm like web on my face or something." And then like Miguel's band, I'm like, "He's on your back! He's on your back!" He turns around, and you see Miles just like stuck to his back. Oh man,
Dude, it was so good. It was so good. Of course, Miguel, he has to come through and protect, the Spider-Verse. That's always been Miguel's thing. He's always been the time hopper. But the thing that I found interesting, and this is probably my theory, is that these movies don't seem to have, at least to my knowledge, a Madam Web. So there's no Madam Web. There's no lady always constantly looking into the Spider-Verse. That's what it seems to be, to my knowledge. And my thought was that big spider that was coming down and kind of doing that, like doing that shit. I'm like, I wonder if that's supposed to be like the portrayal of Madam Web, like the big mother spider almost. That was just my theory. That's just what I was kind of thinking. But I noticed there's no Madam Web, at least to my knowledge, to be seen. Maybe she'll come through, but I'm like, wow. Huh.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if she's introduced in the next part, but.
Probably.
We'll see.
But she'll probably be the one to reach out to help Miles and be
Yeah.
like, Miles, here's the power.
Miles.
Yeah, Miles.
The power was inside of you the whole time, Miles.
Oh god, but oh, and another thing. Can I just say the relationship brewing between Miles with Gwen and the parents, all that together on the rooftop, everything was, and the connection with Miles had with his mother, I was just like,
that was great. Honestly, like it was one of the, it was done so well, it actually made me kind of sad because it was crazy how well they nailed that feeling of like high school love, and just like that excitement, and then like parents maybe not approving or you get in trouble and blah blah, like all this like back and forth, and I was just like, man, I'm old now. like that's what I thought of like watching that scene. Like, hey man, I'm old. But they did a great job with it. I really enjoyed it.
They did. They really did. It was that whole damn movie was just spectacular.
Amazing.
Even ultimate. It was. Oh god, that movie was so good. It was superior. Sorry, whatever.
It was superior, like my race, Brian. Whoa, dude.
Oh, actually, speaking of Superior Spider-Man, I might, when that movie comes out, I might have to go look for him because I'm like, I don't see him anywhere because he's the one where Otto takes over Peter's body.
Oh, sure.
And all that. I'm just like, where's my my Otto Octavius Spider-Man? He should be having the little like arm things and doing that shit. Like, where's my boy? I didn't see him.
I don't know. Well, again,
I was looking
like
for a lot of certain Spider-Man. Like,
yes,
let me tell you.
I mean, the thing is, like, it would be silly if all the most notable ones were there in that scene because, like, it's assumed that they're all over this fucking. What is it? A planet they're inhabiting? I'm not even clear on that. Like, I don't really know.
It looks like it's the universe of Miguel's. I think it was. I think Miguel turned like a hub there. If I remember.
Either way, there's at least a fucking city filled with these people, and we're to assume that a lot of them are probably on missions doing shit anyway. So.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was looking for him. I was glad to see Insomniac, which they gave him like a spotlight. Like he had his own like actual frame and everything.
Yeah.
Like he was when they were walking through. I was like, oh my god, that's literally him. And
no, yeah, they made a whole joke about like. They pointed to one like Spider-Man who was all polygonal, and it's like, yeah, we got like even one that's like a video game dude. And Miles was like, oh, that's dope. I like video games. And then you have the Insomniac one, like, wait, are you guys talking about me?
You talking about me? Dude, that was so good. Yeah. And then fucking Donald Glover, seeing him as Prowler.
Yeah, that was cool. Like I expected, like I saw images of him, so I was waiting for him to show up, but I thought that was still pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
because it was funny. Like I didn't even make the connection, like because like. What did he show up? Was it Homecoming that he showed up in, or was it Spider-Man Homecoming? Yeah. Because, like I didn't even make the connection of who that was when I first saw that movie.
Oh.
So I didn't find out until after the fact of who Donald Glover was actually playing. But yeah, I knew to expect him, and it was cool to see him.
Oh yeah, I guess I could see how you wouldn't know it, like because when they go find him, I guess the only tip you would have is, I have a cousin around here. I mean, a nephew, sorry. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, and again, it was the first time I saw that movie, and it was during a dark
Yeah.
part of my life, so I guess I wasn't paying attention all that much. But like, I remember when I found out. I think it was like the second time I viewed it. I was like, "Oh, that's who that! It's not just a random dude." I thought they just threw Donald Glover in there, but okay, no,
just for shit the giggles.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, there
I
it is.
actually, dude, I don't even know if there's any credence to this at all. But people talked about how like Donald Glover way back in the day always talked about like how cool it would be if there was a Black Spider-Man. You know, if he got to be Black Spider-Man, be part of that or whatever. And then like not too long after that, Miles Morales became a thing.
No,
So
yeah.
a lot of like again, could just be complete coincidence. But like a lot of people looked at Donald Glover and it's like, he might be part of the reason why they actually went through with the Black Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'll say the story I always hear is always like different. I hear that story. I hear that the creators were trying to do something different. I alably hear so many of them.
Well, I'm sure it's
yeah.
a combination of things, right? It's probably like they wanted to do something different, thought it'd be cool to have a new Spider-Man, blah blah blah, and then probably having someone like Donald Glover say like, "Man, a Black Spider-Man would be dope." They're like, "Oh, why not?"
Yeah, well, let's do it. yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's Miles is like, I don't know, whatever form you try to consume him, he's such a great character. He's super likable.
I love him. I love him.
Like even his normal comic book line, like it's just he like okay, listen, Peter Parker, his character is relatable. You can easily relate to Peter Parker, but Miles, you feel, if that makes sense of what I'm trying to say, because like
I think Miles is also relatable. He's just relatable in like a different way.
Yeah.
But that to me, that's like the most important thing that a Spider-Man should have is that relatability, right? It's that like yes, this is a person with superpowers, but they have all these real problems to deal with. Peter has his own problems to deal with. Miles has his own problems to deal with. They're different, but they're still relatable. They're stuff that people have experienced in their lives before, you know. And again, I'm sure if you're someone, if you're like a small black child watching someone like Miles Morales going through what he's going through, you're probably like, finally, I feel fucking seen. Like this is my life, dude. You know, like.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. No, Miles is a great character, and
he's such a great character. I love him to death.
Me too.
Like I said, if you guys ever want to read any of his lines, do it. They're so good. I would recommend start with the beginning of his is the Ultimate series. It's so good watching Miles grow to become who he is. And like I don't know, like eventually even like in like through the comics, Miles eventually like joins up with the Champions, which is like, you know, Kid Hulk and Nova and all these other people, like they make their own little Avengers. Like it's good shit. Like Miss Marvel's part of it. It's fun. But Miles is just, I don't know. He's a good Spider-Man. He's very well done. He's very well made.
Yeah. I also do like they have many scenes. It's usually in the background, like a lot of times when like Miguel's you know, explaining shit about the multiverse or whatever, but like they had quite a few scenes from like the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, stuff like that, so it was cool seeing that stuff again.
They literally
I didn't even clock who it was, but at one point we didn't even mention fucking Spot, like really the villain of this movie until the real villain is shown at the end, presumably. But like is this dude who was created during the last movie, like when the fucking reactor thing had a meltdown. It was this scientist who got caught up in it, and now he like creates little fucking like teleporty holes with his body, and you know, he eventually gains the ability to travel across different universes and shit. But they have one scene where he's talking to this real life lady, and she's like completely unfazed by what's happening, and he's all like, you're acting as if this was like a normal experience for you. So I'm assuming that was probably the MCU that he got into, and that's a lady who's used to all the antics of the MCU.
Oh, yeah,
like that convenience store lady, you know who I'm talking about?
That was from Venom. That was the
Venom. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, fuck, man, she got to see that thing. It's like, well, I'm not phased.
That makes sense, because I was just like, I get what they're going for here, but I'm not sure who that is or if it's someone I should know. But okay, Venom makes sense.
Yeah. That whole movie had such good Easter eggs. And can I just say, the way that they were doing Spot was really good, and the way that they were making him like kind of go crazy and very like pure evil. I'm just like, yes, these are type of villains I like, that are just so like far gone, where their power has corrupted them and turned them like
Well, no,
crazy.
yeah. Well, he's great because like he's introduced as a fucking joke, you know? Because like he, in his mind, he's like, no, dude, I'm your arch nemesis. Like I created you, you created me, type of thing. And Miles is like, I don't know who you are, dude. Whatever. Like fucking. Yeah. It just kind of shrugging him off the whole time. But then over the course of the movie, as he gains more power and more understanding over his own powers and stuff, like he really becomes a true threat.
Yeah, a very big threat. The movie was so good. Even like their fight was hilarious in the convenience store. That was just that movie was spot on. It was so good. Oh, I even loved the scene where, you know, back to the beginning real quick, where Gwen's running and, you know, Spider-Woman and Miguel are all there trying to help him, and fucking Miguel is so irritated. He's just like, and don't get me started with that little punk with Doctor Strange back on Universe, yada yada. I was like, MCU. Miguel knows about that. He's angry.
I mean, they basically they referenced everything they pretty much could, as far as I'm concerned. They even have like a whole thing with like, you know, because, you know, the last movie ended with the whole meme thing with the 60s animated Spider-Man point stuff. Yeah. But they had him again in this movie at one point. Like, he's trying to help everyone catch Miles. He's like, oh, my back!
Yeah. That was so good.
No, it was just so much packed into this fucking movie. It was incredible.
Oh, God, yeah. I know as soon as this movie comes out, I'm going to buy it right away because I love it that much. Oh, this movie's so good.
Yeah, like I said, it's not even like an actual criticism. It's just like how I felt when it ended, where I was like, no, like, come on, you can't really, like,
no.
It's that feeling after, like, when you're binging a good show and like the episode ends on a big cliffhanger, but it's like knowing that you can't just watch the next episodes. You're just sitting there like, okay, like.
What do I do now? I'm empty.
So that's what I mean, is it's like a 10 out of 10 movie, but it doesn't actually have a resolution. Like it really is technically half of a movie. So there's that part of me that it's like, yeah, I don't know that I could say it's like a perfect 10 for that reason alone, just because I feel like it's not finished, but because it isn't. So, but it's an excellent experience. It's really great. You're gonna, if you love it as much as I do, you'll know what I mean when it ends, and you'll be like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Oh, that movie is such good soup. I loved every single second.
I think even if they didn't just drop, if they just kept the part 1 on it and just to remind people, at least I would have. No, and I guess that's why they wanted people to forget and be more shocked by the ending, I guess. But like, I don't know. I think it would have been better off just like just let people know it's a part 1. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, they technically did. That's on you.
Yeah, and then they went back on it, and for whatever reason. Again, I think that was totally that was a marketing decision. I think the creative people like went out the gates and like it's part 1, and then it's somewhere like hush, shut up, shut the fuck up. We'll just call it Across the Universe and let the rest happen naturally.
Yeah.
It's great though. I love it. It
was really good. I'm telling you, watch it and go watch it right now.
Also, I really liked fucking. I can't think of his actual name, but like Indian Spider-Man. He was hilarious.
Oh,
I loved him. I want to see more of him. He was great. Is he part of the fucking squad that Gwen got together? Because I hope so.
It looks like it. I think at the end he shows up at the end. I think he was standing there because he had people from the original movie and then people from the new movie.
You know, I'm also wondering, and like maybe not because obviously like really other than Miles and Gwen, Peter B. Parker is like the only one of like the original group who's really like a big part of the movie. Mm-hmm. But I always think about Spider-Pig, Spider-Ham, Spider-Pig, Spider-Pig,
Spider-Ham,
Spider-Ham. Spider-Pig is fucking Simpsons movie. I always mix those up.
Spider-Pig.
Yeah. Spider-Ham technically shows up twice in this movie. One is just kind of a like flashback where he has the line about like the hardest thing about this job is you can't save everyone. And then he shows up at the very, very end when Gwen gets all these people together to go help Miles. There's a part of me that's thinking in my head, like, I almost wonder if they were going to give Spider-Ham more in this movie, but because of the real life stuff happening with John Mulaney, they couldn't. Because, you know, John Mulaney went through his whole drug thing and then rehab and all that stuff. So obviously he wouldn't have been available to record for this movie. So there's a
It could
part of
be.
me that's like, yeah, I almost wonder if there is ever any kind of plan to make Spider-Ham a not like a main part, but at least a bigger part of the movie, but they just simply couldn't. I don't know.
Probably, and maybe because of that, maybe that's why they were probably like, all right, well, let's not bring Noir or Penny back in, because it would be weird just to have, one of them missing from the original, kind of. So maybe they were just like, we'll focus on new people, that way we can build this army for Miles, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was cool because if you saw Penny's older too. She's older. She grew up.
Yeah. Well, everyone's a little bit older because what they say, it's been like a year and something, 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I know as soon as that second part comes out, I'm gonna be all over it.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a solid fucking movie. Animation is gorgeous. The music is great.
Oh god, the music was so
good.
Can I just say I'm a big fan of when movies will take, or even shows like Samurai Champloo, where they can combine hip hop into their scenes and make the hip hop flow really well with a scene. I love that.
Yeah, and it becomes like a living, breathing part of the scene. Like it's so
exactly,
like to the point where it's integral, right? It's not just background music. Like it is integral to what is happening. Like it is
correct.
So
those kind of and I do that a lot whenever I listen to music and I think about like my own shit. I'm always like integrating music into that. So that is such a big thing for me. I love whenever I see a movie or a show do that. I'm like, you caught me.
That's exactly what I was doing with like the last episode of Fyro that came out, because like I love that too. I'm like, man, if you can find a good way to integrate music, like it's great.
Ooh,
I don't know, it's fantastic.
So well done. It is, but yeah, no. In Across the Spider-Verse, fucking loved it. I would love to go see it again. So
yeah, same. I do like fingers crossed, or even if it's something we do like a New Year's or something, like I would love to have like a fucking just marathon of all the movies once they're all out.
God, yeah. Bro, trust me, as soon as it comes out, I'm gonna have it like day one. So if it's around New Year's, we'll watch it. We'll do it. I'll make sure we do it. I'll tell you what, shut the fuck up. We're watching Spider-Man. If y'all got an issue, you can fight.
Shut the fuck up. We're watching Spider-Man. Which one? All of them. It's got all the Spider people in it. Everyone.
We have to start all the way from Sam Raimi, then go to Amazing, then to Tom Holland, then we can go to this one. God. Oh god, that's a lot.
No, but like seriously, like, because I've seen so far every Spider-Man movie that's been released other than Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's the only one I've never seen. I'll probably watch it eventually. I don't really super want to, but I probably will.
I think half that movie is better than the first movie.
That's fine. Well, that's the thing, is that like
good, but
yeah, I didn't love the first Amazing Spider-Man, so that's kind of why I wasn't super big on watching the second. I probably will eventually, but I'll say out of all the Spider-Man movies I've seen, which is damn near all of them, the Spider-Verse movies I think are my favorite, man. Like they're just they're so good. And again, I love the Sam. Well, I love 1 and 2 of the Sam Raimi movies. 3 is fucking garbo. But no, these Spider-Verse movies are just so.
They're so well done.
They just nail it. Like I literally can't think of like a thing they should change or do better. Like they kill it. Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing.
No.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, you know what? Keep doing what you're doing. You guys are nailing it.
Yeah,
you can tell there's clear passion for Spider-Man.
Oh, absolutely, dude. You cannot, like, that's the thing that I love about watching a movie like this, is that like something like this cannot be made without passion. You can't just fucking like show up your job like, all right, I'm working on a stupid fucking Spider-Man movie again. Just like not give a shit and make something that's artistically incredible. Like clearly the people working on it have a ton of passion. They love Spider-Man. They love everything they're doing. Like it's peak. They're all at the top of their game.
Yeah, they really are. This is gonna be a hard movie to come up against.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean that's all I got for Spider-Man. I don't know. Do you got anything else for Spider-Man?
No, I think I hit all the main things I wanted to talk about. Again, just overall, it's a very good movie. If you have any interest at all, like if you still haven't seen it, but you've also stuck around during all this, I'm sorry we spoiled You had your chance to leave and you didn't. But either way, go watch it, because like even us describing what happened doesn't give it justice. Like you have to see, like again, just for the animation alone, it blows my mind. I don't even understand how they did half the things they did. It's
sorry, I just had another like orgasm thinking about those panels.
It's a masterpiece. Fucking the use of colors, everything is so good.
Like, listen, I'll say this. Well, as soon as I saw Miguel was getting introduced in the first one, I knew we were gonna have some fucking storyline of we gotta fight against the timeline. I knew that, but god damn it, they did it so good.
I also love how they did for Miguel what they did for Prowler in the first movie, where he has his own like musical fucking like things. Whenever he's in action, like it's him because he just has his music cues, and it's like ooh, gives you kind of shivers.
The Prowlers, I will say, is probably more menacing though.
It definitely is. Yeah, the Prowlers is more menacing, but like, I still really like what they did with Miguel too.
Yeah, no, that was a good touch. That was a very good touch.
Yeah, well, I think that about wraps it up. Fucking cool games announced. Some not so cool. It's a fucking great Spider-Man movie out there to go watch. A lot of stuff happening. Yeah, I don't know. Every once in a while when we have a stream coming up and we don't know what to do, but there's fun stuff to talk about, we'll probably do little impromptu podcasts here and there. It's never going to be on any schedule, but as long as we got stuff to talk about, we're going to find a way to talk about it.
Exactly. And like kind of Mike also said earlier in the stream, we might be slowly transitioning to YouTube, so
maybe we'll see what happens. Twitch constantly makes really shitty decisions, and it's hard enough for small channels to get any kind of traction on Twitch anyway. So I'm thinking YouTube will probably be the way to go, but we'll play around with it. We'll see. We're not going to make any big decisions just yet.
Yes, sir. All right, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, we'll probably, all that said, we'll probably be back on Twitch tomorrow. Or Friday, maybe, depending on how things go. Or not, or we'll be YouTube. I don't know. Either way, follow us on social media, because that's where you'll know what we're doing, where we're doing, and as Brian says, who we're doing, which is nobody, because nobody would touch us with a 10-foot pole, and we are disgusting men. Unlovable.
Here's
even.
The links. I gotta put them in. Yeah. There they are.
Go there, follow us and everything. That's great. Fucking, I think tomorrow they'll. Last recording session, I'll just be candid with you. I made Oktar play Dragon Quest Builders 2. He was exhausted, so it's mostly just us playing through like the intro of that game. But it's funny. We have some good conversations. So watch that. Check it out. A new Doki Doki dropped this week. Brian got his graphics card back. He'll be able to continue editing more, plus some of the other videos that we recorded. Next Tuesday, I believe, we got a Hello Kitty video coming out. That I had a lot of fun editing, so I'd appreciate y'all watching that. Just watch your stuff, man. We got stuff. We made it for you. Oh, I made this for you. Do you remember that skit? Fucking hot Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I made this for you.
I don't want to drink your hot Kool-Aid. I made this for you. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. All right, that's it. I don't know how to rate people here, or if I even can, so I won't. So I'm just gonna end the stream now. So
you can rate me.